About 2 weeks ago, we witnessed a clash of titans as Gen G and T1, two of the teams most favoured to win the entire World Championship, faced off against one another. And with this sure to be one of this year's most exciting matches of the entire tournament, the anticipation was building. And when we got into game, it kept building. And building, and building, and building. And after a full 17 minutes of gameplay, not a single kill had even been exchanged yet. But despite this, Gen G had already accumulated over a 1000 gold lead, first tower, and the feat of strength bonus. How many times have you in your life seen the feat of strength bonus be decided without a single kill being shred? Because I've never seen anything like this before. And this raises a really interesting question though. How do pro teams like this get ahead without even having to fight their opponent at all? And how can you learn to do this for yourself? So from wave management tricks that you can use to help generate a massive CS lead, to some high-level lane swapping tactics you can watch out for in the final games of this year's World Championships. This is everything the pro teams do to get ahead without kills.
My name's Rogue and I played League of Legends professionally for 7 years. Now I'm a full-time content creator and coach for all ranks Iron through to Challenger. So if you want more information of what a coaching session with me will look like, you can find more information by following the link in the video description below.
And while you're there, you'll also find my brand new series of guides that I've only just released. My goal here is to give you everything you'll ever need to improve and reach your dream goal, just like the now thousands of others I'm lucky enough to have helped in the past. Alright, so how on earth did Ruler and Lucian manage to get a 40 CS lead, equating to an over 1.6k gold lead on his opponent in just 10 minutes, all without either of them participating in a single kill? Well, there are actually 3 different ways for how this lead was generated. We're going to go through them all in order as to how they happened, and count up the CS difference as we go. The first one is the least flashy, but the most replicable to us mere mortals. Simple wave management. The lane starts off with both bot lanes fighting to try and get priority, as they should. But midway through the first wave at this point, it becomes pretty apparent that Ruler and Lucian has the push advantage and will obviously get level 2 first. This is where his opponent Sivir makes a mistake that is completely uncharacteristic of a World Championship level player. She turns on her W and starts hitting the wave. When your opponent has the push advantage and is soon about to get level 2, what you want to do is quickly finish off all of the low health minions before they get level 2, since once they get the level up, they'll be able to easily zone you off the wave, zoning you from any minions that die. Therefore, we focus on killing all low health enemy minions before being zoned off the wave so you don't lose as many. With this in mind, look at what Sivir does. She turns on her Ricochet and just starts attacking the wave, even though every single one of blue team's minions is currently on full health. Seconds later, she gets zoned off by the wave by Lucian Braum who are hitting level 2, and while being zoned, she loses 3 last hits, all because for some strange reason she decided to put all the enemy minions low on health just before the level 2 transition where she'd get zoned. Wave 3 arrives soon after and Ruler makes sure to clear it out as quickly as possible before the next wave arrives so it resets back to the center of the lane, from which point he can recontest push. This is one of the most important wave management tips you need to know in order to generate a CS lead. In order to control what the wave does, you need to be strong enough to zone your opponent. So just like what Ruler did, we start off by attacking the minions in order to get ahead and push until the opponent concedes and backs away. Once the opponent is now being zoned, you can begin stacking waves. First start off with a slow wave. Only last hit the minions. This allows enemy minions to kill off as many of your team's creeps as possible, all at a point where the enemy can't get in range to get last hits. Then, as the second wave arrives, you want to now do a fast wave. Push the wave into tower as fast as you can with non-stop autos and crash it as quickly as possible. And this should be easy to do since you've got 2 stacked up waves of minions behind helping you push in more quickly. This way, you get to do a clean wave crash into the enemy tower all at a point where their next wave coming out of base is as far away as possible. But it also gives the tower time to kill off all of your minions before the following enemy wave arrives out of base, meaning it will then reset back to the center of the lane again, far away from the enemy tower. From here, begin the process again. On the wave stack, you can see that we managed to zone our opponent off of 3 melee minions and a caster minion, denying them 4 out of 12 minions of these 2 waves, all before the minions even get to their tower. Then on the second wave, we push fast, aiming to crash the now double stacked wave as quickly as possible upon the wave's arrival. Last hitting onto tower is already difficult against a double stacked wave, but since we did a fast crash on the final wave, the enemy Smolder has no minions to hide behind since his wave is so far away still coming out of base, so the threat of my Thresh Hook is enough to zone him off an additional 6 minions as he tries to last hit onto tower on these final 2 waves. In these last two waves, Smolder has now been zoned off 10 out of the last 12 minions, and again, since we did a fast final wave crash, the newly arriving minions reset all the way back to the center of the lane, where we can again begin the process. We retake push, and then we can start doing a slow wave into a fast wave all over again growing our CS lead. This is obviously Ruler's intention here with Wave 3, and it's why he's trying to force the wave into tower as quickly as possible to cause it to reset back to the center of the lane. With the wave now hard reset back to the center, Ruler attacks the wave as it enters in order to place himself ahead in the push advantage just like what he did at level 1. And after killing the first 3 melee minions, him and Juro hit level 3 first, and are now strong enough to zone Sivir off the wave. Remember how Sivir lost 3 minions at level 1 while she was being zoned because of the early level 2? Well, the same thing is happening here again. With this cheeky Braum ult by Duo, he even managed to deny the cannon minion, which is just super tilting, as well as a couple of other minions because they're again about to slow push the next 2 waves, and deny all the last hits while Sivir can't get in range to last hit. Often people ask me, why do you want to take push so much in these early levels, and amongst other reasons, this is why. Ruler is steadily growing his CS lead, little by little, by using the full length of the lane and slow pushing waves at a point where Sivir is zoned and can't get last hits. This is when Ruler decides to switch it up a bit and makes use of a simple trick as old as time. He fast crashes a wave on 6 minions and recalls with a cannon wave coming out of base behind him. But wait a second, Ruler, he must be confused. Ruler, that's top lane, where are you going, buddy? Well, this choice to go top lane by Ruler is actually him taking advantage of trick number 2 in the process of growing his lead without a kill. You see, Ruler's top laner just died to a gank. How sad. And Rumble knows he might not be able to crash this wave into tower in time, so he decides to do the next best thing. Double stack the wave, allow a couple minions to die during the slow push, and crash it into tower all at once with the next wave, which even has the added bonus of allowing Rumble to catch an extra cannon wave worth of gold and XP that he can use for his item buy once he goes back to base. Ruler, noticing this, runs top lane. If he was to walk bot lane, he would pick up 1 minion wave. If he walks top lane, he will catch 2. So bad luck to our top laner. Not only did you die to a gank, but now your ADC is stealing your double stacked wave in order to further his own CS lead. And further his CS lead he did, with it growing even bigger over Sivir because of this reason. But wait a second, there is more happening here with this swap. You know how Ruler based with a cannon wave behind him? Well, this trick is also putting Sivir at 150 gold deficit for one very important reason. Cannon minions do way too much damage. To see what I mean, just keep an eye on this red team cannon minion and take note of how many minions it kills all by its own while I talk about this next part. You see, cannon minions do 40 damage per second, and on top of this, they have a hidden passive that causes them to deal a percent current health damage to enemy minions, making them deny minions at an extremely fast rate if you're not in lane on a cannon wave. Rumble in top lane is fast pushing this cannon wave in order to crash it and recall as fast as he can, and since he's killing off our cannon minions so quickly, it only has time to deny 2 melee minions before he kills it. But in bot lane, the wave is completely even, and so the cannon minion isn't dying and can alone have the time to deny 3 melees and a cannon minion from Sivir, giving her a further -4. But with the cannon minion being worth about triple the value of a melee minion in terms of gold and XP, these 4 minions are more like a -6. This genius lane swap by Gen G allowed them to turn one bad death in top lane into a huge bonus by funneling the bigger top wave onto Ruler to further his CS lead, while also denying almost half a level of XP from Sivir by forcing her to match a recall, which put her in base on a cannon wave, denying her a ton. Now you might think I'm overanalyzing here and that this was just a happy accident. I promise you, I'm not. I played in the Pro League for years, and one of my coaches forced us to memorize the exact game time at which every single cannon wave arrived for the first 10 minutes of the game, so we could practice pre-planning plays on cannon wave arrival times. And if we didn't remember those times as well when he quizzed us, he would make us do push-ups as a punishment until we got the timers right. And trust me, we are nowhere near as good as Gen Z, so they definitely planned this one. Okay, back to the game. So Andessa died to a gank, Sivir watched her cannon minion grief her, and Lucian swaps top to get a double stacked wave. But now with the top wave sitting so close to Ruler's tower, what do you think he will do with it? That's right, he's going to stack the wave again, denying almost another full wave, this time from Rumble, at a point where Rumble can't get a wave to last hit on the stacked wave against 2 people. Now, PSG isn't enjoying the fact that Rumble's being denied and Sivir's having to lane against someone 2 levels higher than him, So they have Sivir push the wave into tower and swap to top lane to match. The only problem though, level 4 Sivir can't fully crash the wave against a near level 6 solo laner, so Mbessa holds just a few creeps out of the tower, and now, for the second time in a row, bot lane is left unattended by red team on a cannon wave. And so of course, their cannon minion, yet again, griefs them by stealing a full cannon wave, this time denying it all from Rumble. The first cannon minion was denied by a Braum shield. The second minion Sivir was in base for and she lost, and the third minion she was in base for again and lost. No one on red team has gotten a single cannon minion in the bot lane, and we're almost 6 minutes into the game. Now back in top lane, things start to stabilize for a little while. Both bot lanes meet again, but because of the early CS lead that Lucian has, he has an entire pickaxe ahead of the enemy Sivir. And this is kind of what happens with small leads like this. They accumulate slowly over time, until suddenly they begin to matter. So when it comes time to contest the Void Grubs, Gen.G just gets them for free, because of course, you just can't fight out in the open like this when your ADC is down so much in items. This is where things are about to take a massive turn. You see, Gen.G has slowly built up a lead over time on their ADC through a massive amount of denied minions on slow pushes and a super high level lane swap they executed. But this is all about to come crashing down onto their opponent as they show us the third and final trick that they've used to generate this massive lead without kills. Or as some might say, slowly and then all at once. Ruler returns back to top lane and begins his signature move of double stacking waves. This is where they notice that the following wave out of base is a cannon minion wave. As mentioned earlier in the video, cannon minion waves are incredibly important sub-objectives that pro teams use to memorize the arrival times on so that they can pre-plan plays on them, since you stand to gain far more tower damage and a much higher reward if you make plays on the super tanky cannon wave. Now, since Gen.G has just picked up triple Void Grub and the next wave out of base is a cannon wave, what this means is the potential reward for a tower dive is absolutely astronomical, and the first step to preventing a dive happening is mid prio. So both junglers are sprinting mid. This is one of the biggest things you'll ever learn as a support player, is that if you want to prevent getting tower dived, you roam mid lane to give your mid lane a prio so they can come down and protect you, which is why Vi does this gank onto Galio. Now the bad news is Galio flashed away and preserved enough health. And the problem here is, red team can't win the mid 2v2. If you just look at champion levels, Vi is 6, Wukong is 7, Galio is 8, his counterpart is 7, there is a 2-level lead on Gen.G's mid jungle. So they can basically force a 2v2 mid, and if the red team takes the 2v2, they'll just die mid lane. And since they know they can't win the 2v2 mid, they have to concede and just trade jungle camps instead. Now that mid prio has been given, they can walk up to top lane, and because the top wave is arriving later than the mid wave, Galio is going to make it there in time in order to join in. So with Vi not being able to go topside at all, and the mid laner pinned to mid with having a really difficult time following into that top jungle, it just means that Gen.G gets to zone their opponents off the tower in a complete 2v4. Now, since Gen.G already got the triple Void Grub buff, and since they pre-planned this play by double stacking their wave and then executing it with a cannon minion wave, the reward for the play is just massive. PSG is forced to fully concede their tower, since in order to not dive 2v4, they just have to go back to their tier 2. In the process of being zoned, they lose 14 minions, 4 turret plates, and first tower at just 10 minutes into the game. And after giving Sivir the chance to catch the remaining minions after the dust had settled, Ruler is now up 29 minions, 5 turret plates, first tower, half a level, and 1.4k gold, all without ever participating in a single kill. Off of this massive early lead, Gen.G went on to have a near perfect game in this one, giving over 0 towers, no objectives other than this one silly little Atakan they got stolen from them. And Ruler and Lucian, well, he of course top damage for the entire game, finishing with a scoreline of 8 kills, 1 death, and 9 assists, and that 1 death was literally just him dashing into the fountain at the end for fun. From a spectator's POV, watching Gen.G is insane, but from an analytical POV, they are playing at a level that is just so much higher than all of the other teams at Worlds. I didn't expect to find so much when I first went to make this video, and I admit, I knew that I was going to be looking at the single best team in the world, so my expectations were high, but after watching this game, I was mind blown. They're able to turn such tiny mistakes from an enemy into small advantages, which build and build and build until finally the weight of all of these advantages come crashing down onto their opponent into one massive game-breaking play. There's not many teams in the world that can build up such a massive lead like this completely indirectly over their opponent without even fighting them, but Gen G can. So the answer to the question of how do pro teams get ahead without even getting kills? Well, just watch Gen G play and they'll give you the answers. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Before we move on to the next one, head on over to my brand new website, coachrogue.com, where you can check out my brand new series of guides or book in your own coaching session with me directly. Oh, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well if you haven't. I'm supposed to say that as well, aren't I? Anyway, have a good one, everyone.